The Short Take with Alex and Jake.
Hello, and welcome to The Short Take, the podcast where we talk about all things short films, apart from when we don't. I'm your host, Jake, and with me, as ever, is my co-host, Alex.
Oh, yeah.
How are you doing this week?
I'm good.
Good.
Yeah, I'm alright.
Nice.
Yeah.
Living life to the fullest.
To
the
the
max.
fullest. I would say to the max.
Yeah.
You know me. I skateboard into the room. I do a little kickflip.
Yep.
And I go to the max.
And I hate it every time.
I know. It would break something.
We're on episode 9 this week, and Alex has brought us a film called Two Strangers Who Meet 5 Times.
Yeah.
Bit of a mouthful.
I like the title. I like it.
Do you have a synopsis for us before
I
we
do.
get into it?
And before I say it, I want to say that I think the title of the film is a better synopsis than the synopsis.
Okay.
And I think maybe that's why the synopsis is bad.
Right.
Alistair and Samir meet 5 different times, but it is only when they meet as old men that they can finally put their prejudices aside and meet as friends. This film champions friendship and compassion over separation and distrust.
Interesting.
Right?
Yeah.
I think the title of the film sums it up better than that does. And I feel that's, if anything, spoilers.
Yeah. Do you have some stats and things for us?
I don't have a ton of stats. I can give you...
I don't know. Stats is the wrong word, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't have the budget, which is annoying. I'm pretty certain... So there was a video with him that was 7 minutes long. Most of it is him more talking about his love of making film and, like, why he wants to make film, which was interesting. I want to get into that later on.
Okay.
He didn't particularly talk about anything in terms of, like, budget. The closest he got was he said he refound his love of making short films with this short film.
Okay. Who is the director, quickly?
Sorry,
We have
that's
not
a good point.
said.
Yeah, we didn't say. It is Marcus Markou, I believe is how it's pronounced.
Okay.
Markou.
It's also written by him.
It's also written by him, written and directed by him. He said that, he refound his love of making short films from making the short film. The big thing he took away from it was it's the idea of just going out and making the film, which we've said before as well. We talked about, I always come back to Prom Dress, which is what it was called, right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. I always, in the back of my head, I'm like, it's Laundromat.
You're good. Yeah, you're 2 for 2 at the moment.
Yeah. Yeah, he said it kind of came from, like, him just wanting to make a short film, and within the interview, I think it's really worth watching. I think his channel in general is really worth looking through.
Okay.
He's got some cool little videos and stuff. Just he's somebody who clearly just loves making film and working with other people in film and stuff like that.
Yeah. When did this come out?
2017.
Okay, so 6 years ago.
Yeah, although I think it was uploaded 4 years ago. But I assume that's just because it was on a festival circuit or something.
Most
It's got
likely.
a lot of awards from festivals and stuff like that. It's been reviewed by Mark Commode, which is fun.
Interesting.
Yeah, he's gone on to make 2 feature films. One of them is on YouTube. I've got it saved to watch. It's like an hour or so long. And the second one they're both really low budget apparently. The second one has come out and Mark Commode's reviewed it. I think it might have been a couple of years ago now that it came out. Might be wrong.
That's fun.
But yeah, he said apparently he kind of came to the idea of making this film from speaking to people about their experiences. He's Greek Cypriot, and he said he hadn't personally really engaged or like had any issues in his life in regards to people like prejudice against himself for like his race. But he said he was speaking to a friend who like also hadn't really experienced it, but then in the chip shop or something he ran suddenly had somebody like something like when are you going home or some bullshit like that.
Right.
And he said it just really took him aback. He was like, oh shit, okay, that does happen still, sort of thing. Like,
Yeah.
as a man, like, a Greek Cypriot man, he just hadn't encountered it.
Yeah.
And I think, so he said he didn't, like, want to make the film in the sense of, like, oh, I'm tackling racism, I'm going to stop white supremacy. But there was definitely something within that that inspired him, I think.
Okay.
Which is interesting. But yeah, do you want to talk about...
Yeah, should we go into good?
It's going to good.
Yeah. Overall, I think I quite liked it.
Yeah.
I like a good slice of life film, which is what I would categorize this as.
100%.
It doesn't necessarily... I think that synopsis is not great.
No.
I think that the kind of the themes or like the point of the story is very wishy-washy.
Yeah.
And that lends itself to a slice of life type film.
It's 5 slices of life.
It is 5
technically.
slices, yeah. That's a big pie.
Whew.
I think it's interesting how they've edited it together with second, third, fourth, first,
The structure,
fifth.
yeah.
Yeah. I want to talk about that more in potentially bad.
Okay, yeah, I see that.
But I think it's interesting. I think it's, it's a valiant attempt.
Yeah.
I think the camera work gets a lot better later on in the film.
Yeah.
So I really enjoyed the back half of the camera work kind of stuff. I think I want to talk about the first half a bit later on.
Yeah.
That's my big things. I think the acting in most of it is very good.
Yeah.
I think the dialogue is all right.
Yeah.
I think it's half decent.
Yeah.
I think the kind of the coverage and stuff, I guess that kind of comes under camera work.
Yeah.
It's better in the second half.
I think it starts off. The whole thing, as we keep saying this, I think in the last few episodes we've done, is competently filmed in the sense that it works.
Yeah.
But I think it is a step above. I think it is well filmed.
Okay, interesting.
I think you're
don't
right that
know
the
if I'd
second.
agree.
See, I think the second half that you're right is better.
Yeah.
But I don't think the first half of it is particularly average or anything. I think it is good. Like, I think if you look at... I think he's choosing shots specifically for reasons, and I think it shows.
I think there are reasons why he's chosen shots, but I don't think I agree it's the best thing they could have done. I think it potentially detracts from the film in certain situations, but obviously I'll, come on to that later.
I really, really like the idea of the structure in it. I think there are issues with it, but I don't think it's actually the structure that's the problem. I think it's more the story itself. But I think the structure is really cool, and I'm a big fan of, like, putting stuff out of chronological order, but for reasons, like specific reasons. Like, you're being shown the parts you're being shown on purpose.
Yeah, I'm not going to say anything now.
Okay, that's interesting. I do think story-wise there is an issue there, but I think in terms of, again, an idea for a structure, and I think he achieved it technically in how it works. But yeah, I thought that was good. I really like the acting in it. The kid actors weren't great. Specifically Samir's one, but that's because he's kind of the only one who speaks. Also, he looks way too old.
Yeah.
Alistair looks...
I think you're straying into bad.
I'm veering into bad, but I think that's just where I'm going now.
Okay.
I want to say overall I really like it.
Yeah. I also want to pick up quickly, a lot of it was filmed handheld, wasn't it?
Yes.
Which I kind of liked.
That's funny because I didn't love that. But then in general, I'm not a big fan of that.
Yeah, I think I could easily go back and forth on this all day. But it's always interesting, I think, when people pick to do everything handheld.
Yeah.
I think there's probably a reason behind it, because it's like, the idea is it's very raw, and like, it is just these two people's lives, like these happenstance interactions that
Puts
they
you
have.
in the moment.
Yeah, exactly. If it was static and you were like observing it from the outside, it'd feel very what's the word?
Well, it's like the shot at the I know what you're saying. It's like the shot at the cash point at the beginning, the wide shot of the two of them. It makes it feel like you're looking from, like, it's happening.
Yeah.
That you're watching it from a distance and you're like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Like when you see something happening in public.
Yeah. Do we want to stray into bad?
Yeah, I think so. Because I think, okay, here's the problem, is I think it's a really good film and really well made film, but in that way that like it's hard to say. I don't think the editing's bad. I think the editing's really good.
Yes,
but it's the fact. But there's nothing really to say about it because of how good it is. Because it's like good editing, you don't notice and you don't really.
That's true. Yeah, I think the micro edits very good. The macro editing of putting the first interaction they have towards the end of the film, I think is really interesting. And again, I think I could go back and forth on this quite a lot.
That's the structure thing that I think is really good.
As a slice of life film, there aren't twists, right? In a slice of life film, there is not really a story, so there aren't really twists to go with it. So you just want to see these things happening and build a connection to these characters and see where it takes you. If you're putting this scene in where you're flashing back to when they're kids, you're expecting it to contain some kind of information that really genuinely changes how the film comes across, and I don't think it does necessarily enough. Oh, hello.
Hello.
Anyway, sorry, before the cat attacked us.
Cat attack. Okay, so I think I see what you're saying about like it being a slice of life and slice of life not having the twist element. I think it's not about that though. It's about the fact that it's clearly showing these two men. I think this is maybe where the story itself falls flat. So we're kind of, again, veering into bad and the good here.
Yeah.
I think the idea is obviously that, like, when you strip away these two men's experiences as adults and, like, societal stuff, and you put them as children.
As childs.
As childs, as they say. As children, they're just two children. Yeah. And the fact they got on and they were perfectly happy, and then it is everything else around them that kind of separates them almost as they grow up.
Yeah.
So I think the point in that is to put it, like, to pull back and be like, oh shit, they did once meet each other and they were perfectly happy.
Yeah, no, I think
it was the fact that everything else that's happened around them has changed them.
There is definitely a point to it, because the first three instances that we see are very antagonistic for the most part. Like,
well, two of them are.
I guess the third one's not really. Yeah. But then, do you see what I mean? Like, they start to like each other, or not like each other. They do an act of kindness.
You're right.
And then you flash back and you see actually they liked each other to start with. kind of thing.
It feels like it needs to carry on the antagonistic aspect of it before pulling back to the... Yeah, I see what you're saying.
And then...
I think this is when the narrative thing falls flat, though, I think.
Yeah.
Going into the bad. I think the story... I think, one, it gets too melodramatic for its own good. I think him suddenly becoming homeless and stuff, while an interesting concept, is maybe a step too far.
I see where they were going with it.
Yeah, 100%.
In a way, it's like both of their faults, kind of. So, like, this fight that they had at the very start led to him not getting the job, led to the guy saying, you're not getting this job because you were mean to me.
Yeah.
Led to him being homeless. And it's like...
But then he shouldn't get the job.
No, he shouldn't have. No, absolutely. Yeah.
So therefore, I don't feel there's any element of it being on Samir's character. Yeah. So it's like...
It's weird.
It's difficult. I think I get what it's going for, and I don't think it does it badly at all. I think it's actually doing it pretty well. I think for me, personal taste-wise, and I think maybe it's a generational thing. I think our generation maybe would think the same thing. Because I watched some interviews of people, and like I said, Mark Commode had a look at it and stuff like that. And all people of older generation who really like it. And I wonder if we're just a bit tainted.
Maybe.
A bit like, what's the word I'm looking for? Pessimistic?
Yeah.
Like, it's a bit melodramatic. It's a bit like, well, that's not how it work, is it?
Yeah.
He wouldn't be nice to him. Like, maybe he feels a bit guilty and he doesn't remember him. I don't know. It's a bit like, it's just too melodramatic. It's too wishy-washy, maybe, is what it is.
Right. I think this is kind of related. I think it wastes a lot of time reintroducing them every single time.
Yeah, I didn't love how they didn't recognise each other each time, especially the last one.
I like when they're older.
Yeah, I did like the thing where he's like, do I know? He's like, this man gave you a shit ton of money.
Yeah.
There's no way you don't remember him after that.
Yeah.
Like, it probably changed your life in that second, sort of in that moment. And there's like, you don't remember it. And like, don't get me wrong, he looks older, but it's him, clearly.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I didn't really like how much time they quote unquote wasted, reintroducing them every time. I like the line, "Oh, don't I know you?" But there was too much fluff around that.
Yeah.
It was kind of I don't know. I think it's all the same kind of problems, isn't it? It's like, in my opinion, I do like a slice of life film.
Yeah.
And a essentially no plot, just vibes.
Yeah.
Kind of thing to it. You know, you're just watching these interactions and being like, oh, you know, is it because using the framework of like, you see them as kids getting along, is it like a nurture thing, and that's the lens we're meant to be looking at this through.
Yeah.
But then they just suddenly like each other when they're old, I guess. I don't know. Or they don't have any prejudices anymore.
No, I think the idea is clearly meant to be that through Samir doing what he did for Alistair, Alistair's now grown like to an old man where he's like a caring individual.
Yeah.
Clearly has no prejudices at this point.
And he's looking out for other people.
Yeah, exactly.
He's being selfless instead of selfish.
And it's almost like I like the bit at the end where Samir's just smiling, because like they say he can't like seem to communicate.
Yeah.
With him smiling and stuff, and like him, I'm assuming, recognizing Alistair, and kind of it being a moment of like, oh my god, you sorted yourself out, it's all good, and it was worth it, sort of thing, almost, what I did for you. I like that.
I think, okay, sorry, I know I'm cutting you off quite a lot. Going back to my structure thing, if you put the thing with the kids first, and you follow the story through naturally, you can do the incredibly cliche but works very well thing of them sitting down as old men, looking at each other, and you see Samir smiling at him, and you cut back and it's the kid in the seat.
Yeah.
And like, you know, you're like, he sees him as the kid still, kind of thing. It's like, you could do something with that, where it's tying it back to the beginning, instead of just being these chapters that are not interconnected, really.
I think it is the narrative thing. I think the problem is, like you said before, I think that clearly, for me anyway, the biggest issue with the film is the fact that it goes bad encounter, comeuppance for bad encounter, like in the interview.
Yeah.
Then encounter in which it's even more of a comeuppance from it, where it's like, oh shit, he's now lost everything somehow. And then that ending on a good note, to then just go to a good note in when they were kids, and then to jump to them as old men, which is also a good note.
Yeah.
I think it doesn't have the trajectory of a story going up and down. It kind of starts down, then goes up, 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 and up.
Yeah.
And that's it. And I think that's maybe what it is. I think it's lacking the like highs and lows.
Yes.
Like it should be
of
showing
a normal story structure.
I wonder if it would maybe, you know, I'm trying to think of an example. I'm wondering if it would maybe work better if it was cutting back and forth within the scenes between two different time periods or something of them meeting.
Yeah.
Showing negative
maybe.
and positive, and like the irony of it almost, like the fact that like in this one encounter they like hate each other, in this other encounter they like were really happy to like friends and stuff.
Well, that's basically just stealing Blue Valentine, isn't it?
That's what it is. I was trying to think. I was in my head. I was like, "What is that? What have I seen that in?" No, but then like it's still an idea. Like theft from another thing is like, I don't know.
Theft is art.
Theft is art. All art is theft.
Yeah.
You just have to do it right. I do think the story. I don't know. I do think it's slightly lacking. But I think maybe it's because it's melodramatic and we just don't dig it.
Yeah, that's very possibly what it is.
I think it's a generational thing in which our generation is so pessimistic and so like we've seen so much shit, especially story-wise. We've seen every story.
Yeah.
And it's like, we just don't give a shit. We don't get the magic of it. We're like, that's not how the world works. Fuck this. Like...
Very pessimistic of you.
I mean, let's be honest though. There is an element of it. Like when you watch it, it's like, this is too wishy-washy and melodramatic. It's like...
It's not very real.
No, it's like you wouldn't give him that much money.
Yeah.
He's homeless.
I think that's also a symptom of us living in Brighton, where
that's definitely a part of it.
Housing is such a massive issue.
Yeah, and I don't know. Also, it's weird because it's like Alistair's character is the one with the arc, I guess. Samir doesn't really have one, right? Like Samir's closest Samir gets to an arc is the fact he decides to actually help Alistair
instead of.
But then that situation, he doesn't remember him, right? Like he doesn't even begin to remember him. So
neither of them really remember it.
Well, no, Alistair remembers him.
Yeah.
And he remembers why he, like...
He must remember the bank.
Oh, he 100% remembered that. It was the case of him not wanting to say it because he didn't want him to remember.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so, like, the fact that Samir doesn't remember at all that encounter, both at the job interview or at the cash point by the time he meets him as a homeless man.
And he still gives him that money.
And then he gives him the money. And it's like... Maybe it's the idea of, like, it's forgotten. But maybe it feels like...
it's meant to be, like, a random act of kindness. I don't know.
But it's not random because it feels like he gets guilted into it because it's Alistair saying to him, I had a job interview with you and you said no. And then he's like, I don't think so. And he's like, no, because then I remember your office. And he's like, oh, crap. But you see in his face, he's like, that is my office.
Yeah.
And then the guy's like, oh, well, it's okay you didn't give me the job. Like, I understand.
Yeah.
And then he decides to give him money. But it's not because he remembers him.
It feels like guilted.
Yeah. It's weird.
That could be our jaded lens as well, though.
Jaded. That's what I've been trying to say the whole time, I think. That's the word I want.
I've been holding it hostage.
Shit.
I've known the word and I just not
hate
said
you!
it.
5 to Alex and Jamie 5 times.
The one thing, technically, that I wanted to bring up, I really did not like that wide shot by the cash point.
Oh, see, I quite like that. I don't like how long it goes on for.
It goes on way too long.
I like
There's
I
way
said,
too
I
many
like...
awkward pauses.
That's true. I think it's the one take aspect of it.
Yeah, like you shouldn't have done that.
Sorry, this is something I really should have said in the good, but something I like about the director from what like I said, I watched the interview thing with him. It's really good. I highly recommend it. He talks about, apparently he's an actor's director. Like he wanted to be an actor, he trained to be an actor and then became a director.
Okay.
He said that he likes actors who can improvise and stuff, and he wants them to like, it's all about play and it's about figuring out the scene with them and stuff like that, which I 100% agree with. That's how I like to do it.
Yeah.
But he also talked about how like, he wants everyone on the crew to feel like their voices are heard. He wants everyone to be in control of their aspect of the film. And he said, on my first day, I'm paraphrasing here, he's like, on my first day of shooting, who could I afford to lose? And he's like, can I afford to lose my DP? No. He like knows exactly how the film's meant to look. Could I lose my sound person? No. He's like in control of all of that stuff. Nobody else can do that.
Yeah.
Can I lose my principal actors? No, of course not. The one person I can lose is the director. And he's like, and that's kind of how it should be, in his opinion. He's like, if everyone knows their point, if my job's been done correctly, which is making sure everybody is in control of their thing, and like we all have a clear vision, then I could miss the first day and they would get the shots we need.
Right.
And I think that's really interesting.
Yeah, that is.
As like a collaborative process. Yeah, I just thought it was fascinating as an idea.
Yeah, no, that is really interesting, yeah.
But then maybe the improvisational thing, maybe that's why that shot doesn't work that well.
Yeah.
And that's maybe down to it being more naturalistic in terms of what he's going for with the dialogue and stuff.
Yeah, I think on the whole, I quite like the dialogue in this. It was alright.
For the most part.
But in that shot, it was really, really weird and stunted, and like the pauses were way too long.
I think they didn't get antagonistic enough.
Yeah, it felt like they were kind of stumbling over their words, even though they had so much room to breathe.
Yeah.
They were saying things that didn't have any consequence. There was like, it was a lot of fluff.
To be fair though, it did feel like a real fight, like moment like that.
Really didn't to me. It
really
didn't feel like it
did.
was building to anything.
It was the way he was just saying stuff, and that he clearly didn't. The way I think both actors are very good. I think the guy playing Alistair, the way he would like say the stuff he was saying, like when he was calling him just all the names, but he wouldn't look at him properly. He kept looking away and stuff, like, and then looking back to him and then looking away, and it feels so real to me. I feel like I've seen that happen. And the way Samir's taking it, just like almost incredulously, he's just like, what? Like in disbelief. He just stood there. He's like, what's the real problem? Like, he keeps saying, what's your problem?
I don't know. This is maybe too mean, but I felt like the actor playing Alistair would say his lines.
Yeah.
He would know that Samir had a line coming, and so he would just stop acting. He would just kind of stand there and wait for him to say his line back.
Interesting.
That is maybe an incorrect reading of it. I don't know, but that's how it felt to me.
Yeah.
It was just he was just waiting for another line to come so he could say his line.
Interesting.
I
definitely didn't feel that. I did feel there was like awkward pausing and stuff, but then I feel like it comes from like the naturalistic element of like how he's trying to film it.
Maybe, yeah.
But yeah, no. I'd have to watch it again and have a look out for that. Interesting. Anything else in bad? Or do you want to jump to nitpicks?
I think I'm done.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I think I am too. I think the only thing I'd say is some of the dialogue for me I didn't like, but that comes from, again, the melodramatic nature of it.
Yeah.
More than anything.
Nitpicks then.
Nitpicks? Have you got any?
I don't know if I do.
No.
It felt... Actually, something we probably should have said in good. I think there was quite good locations.
Really good locations,
really
actually.
good.
You're right.
But then it felt really weird that when he was homeless, he was just sat in that one place.
Yeah.
That you didn't see... Maybe this is quite a good nitpick / bad. I think some of the scenes weren't long enough.
Like what?
Like when he lost the job, it felt like that was obviously quite a pivotal moment, but he didn't really stick around, and then suddenly he's homeless. I don't know.
I think it's because the film's from Samir's perspective.
Yeah,
like
that's
you think
true.
about all those scenes, they start. Actually, no, the first scene starts with Alistair, which is interesting.
Yeah,
but then like. And the interview, but the bit in the sandpits from Samir's perspective, because as Alistair gets taken away, we stay with Samir. Which again, sorry, this is a nitpick. The kid who played Samir looked too old. He had a little mustache going on.
Did he?
And I was like, you do not need to be in a sandpit. Like, you're too old. Stop playing with this.
Get out of there.
Stop playing with this child. No, he was decent. I didn't think he was amazing. But then that's child acting. Like, it's hard to like get a child actor who's good without having a budget.
Yeah.
Yeah, the bit in the sandpit's definitely from Samir's perspective, because Alistair walks away and the camera stays with Samir.
Yeah.
The bit in the nursing home, I would say, is from Samir's perspective.
It starts with
in
him.
the room and they walk into the shop.
Yeah.
And the homeless one, I would argue, is from Samir's perspective, because it's literally the moment he walks up, right? Like, not the first shot. Like,
no, but when
the first shot is of Alistair, and then Samir walks into it.
But then when Samir leaves to go get the money, we stay with Alistair.
We do stay with Alistair. So
and in the job interview...
That's definitely Alistair.
That's definitely Alistair.
No, you're right.
It's a weird mix.
Interesting.
It doesn't really stick with one of them the whole way through.
Which is fine.
Yeah, no, that is fine. I do actually have another nitpick.
Go on.
It's very nitpicky.
Go on.
Obviously, there's 5 chapters to this, quote unquote. Each one starts with like a shot of like the floor or something, and then pans up to whatever it is we're watching. They don't always start with a person on the screen.
Yeah, you're right.
It's kind of it's a really, I don't know what it is. It screams the film to a halt.
Yeah.
In like there's nothing happening like that. I think it's Every Frame of Painting's video on Akira Kurosawa talking about Seven Samurai.
Yeah.
And he's like, if you have an action scene and you want to continue the action scene, every single shot has to continue the motion. Yeah. There always has to be motion. If you want to break and start a new scene, then you have motion going to static. Yeah. And static to static, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And it felt, maybe that's what they wanted. Maybe they wanted it to be separate, but it really segments the film into these very distinctive bits. And I think you want those chapters obviously feel like chapters, but you want them to also flow, like stitch together as a film. And they don't necessarily feel like that because of that editing.
Yeah, you're right.
Very nitpicky.
I think you're right.
But
don't take a drink of your water after saying that. And then you just got it all over you.
I have, honestly, I don't know what's wrong with me. I can't drink water anymore.
I hope the director of this film listens to this.
I'm going to cut this out.
He gets to this point and it's like, wow, okay. It's okay because these guys are idiots.
Yep. So it's very small nitpick.
Yeah. I don't think I have any other nitpicks. Like I said, technically speaking, I actually really like this film. As much as we've like complained about it.
We tend to do that a lot.
Yeah, but then it's just like, I think that's how you discover stuff. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's finding...
We're trying to be constructive.
Yeah. Hopefully it's always constructive.
Hopefully. I don't know. Maybe everyone hates us.
Well, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think it's a really good film. I really like the guy's passion. Like I said, from watching his stuff, I really want to watch his 2 films he's made.
Yeah.
Because they seem really good. And I think he's a really good example of a low-budget filmmaker.
Yeah, definitely.
But I think maybe for us, the sensibilities don't work. I think that's mainly what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're trying to find ways to turn it into something else. But
Yes.
like his film is his film and he's made it for a reason. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, and I don't think there's too much technically that I'd change.
No.
Really, other than those very small edits that I said.
Yeah.
And I'd probably cut the wide. But other than that, I think it's, it's fine.
Really good. If this film approached you at a cash point, started throwing slurs at you, and then let's say like a year later, the film comes and interviews at your workplace, and you're the final person who has to interview them, and then you realise who they are, and you don't give them the job.
Yeah.
And then...
How far are we going with this?
Yeah, let me finish. And then you are walking down the street one day and you see the film in the street and it's homeless.
Yeah.
And don't really remember it.
No.
But it is adamant that it interviewed with you and that you didn't give them the job. Mm-hmm. And then you're like, I don't think it was me. And then I describe your office. And you're like, where's my office? You feel bad about it. So you go and get them some money and you give it to them. They get all upset about it, which is fair.
Okay.
And now that we think about it, you actually, when you were a child, you actually met this film and played in a sandpit with it.
I think I'd remember that if I played in a sandpit with a film.
No, you don't. You were kids. The film was a kid. And it was a...
was a kid?
It was a you. It was a you at the time, Universal. And then years later, you've kind of encountered some issues in your older age, where you're still all there, but you can't like communicate very well and stuff. Like that. You need to be looked after, and you're brought something like a new carer, and the new carer is that film. How wide do you smile?
All of that. Wow. We should just put that as the synopsis of the film.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not very.
Not very?
No.
Wow, interesting.
I'd turn that smile upside down.
Wow.
No, I'm joking.
You just made
No, I'm not
a
joking.
really lovely phrase, sad. Take that smile for a mile. Make that smile a mile because you make it really big.
Yeah. Is that what you're doing?
Yes.
Yeah.
Can make my smile a mile.
Wow. Well, there we go. I'll get a new carer and you can keep the film.
Okay. I would smile.
Okay.
I'd be pretty happy.
All right. I'll probably have a little smile.
Okay. Well.
A very little smile.
Wow.
Yeah. Anyway, are we moving it on?
Mm-hmm.
The podcast train is leaving the station.
Woo, woo.
I'm going to ask Alex 3 film questions. If he gets all 3 right or all 3 wrong, he'll get an extra bonus question at the end.
Bloody hell.
A pity point or a victory lap,
Yeah.
as we're calling it now. And then we'll do 3 true or false bonus questions at the end, which he'll potentially get points for, potentially not. Question 1.
Go on.
In which film was the following insult uttered? You have the manners of a goat and you smell like a dung heap. Highlander, The Princess Bride, Labyrinth, or The Lion King?
Whoa. Okay, sorry. I wasn't expecting to be a multiple choice. Sorry, can you read the options again really quick?
Highlander, The Princess Bride, Labyrinth, or The Lion King?
Okay, I know that.
Question 2. Which recent film that told the story of the greed and class discrimination that threatened the newly formed symbiotic relationship between the wealthy Park family and the destitute Kim clan was the first non-English language film to win the Academy Award for Best Picture?
Yeah, I know that. Took me a second then.
Question 3. Which 90s blockbuster starring Tom Hanks and Matt Damon was directed by Steven Spielberg?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think I know all 3 of these.
An unfortunate week for me.
Okay, can you
answer...
read what the insult was again, quick?
So question 1.
Yeah.
You have the manners of a goat and you smell like a dung heap.
It's Princess Bride.
Incorrect.
Oh, okay, hang on. Can you read the options again, quick, see if I can get it?
Highlander, Labyrinth, or The Lion King?
I don't think it's Lion King. See, when I first heard it, I thought Monty Python. I was thinking of the bit, as he says, it's John Cleese when he's the Frenchman shouting over the...
Oh, your mother is a...
Is it goat?
Hamster.
Hamster.
And your father smells of elderberries because
yeah,
you're drunk.
see, that's right. I kind of heard that in my head. It's not. See, I thought it might have been the Princess Bride scene where they're insulting each other, doing the insults.
No, that's isn't that where he's like, "You killed my father."
No. It's a different bit.
Oh, okay.
It's with the I always forget his name. The guy on the boat. Inconceivable.
Yeah.
Him.
I've seen him pop up in loads of stuff recently.
He's great. I don't know. I don't think it's Lion King. Maybe it's. Is it Braveheart?
So you're down to 2.
Is it Braveheart?
Highlander or Labyrinth?
Sorry, Highlander. I meant Highlander. Is it Highlander?
Yeah, it is Highlander.
It is. Okay, I haven't seen Highlander enough.
The answer to question 2?
Parasite.
Correct. The answer to question 3?
Saving Private Ryan.
Obviously.
Yeah. But to be fair, it took me a second to get that. I was like, hang on. What
Yeah.
film have those two been in? I think that's the only film they've ever been in together. Might be wrong.
So, you got 2 out of 3, so you don't get any points for these questions, but we're going to run through them quickly anyway.
Yeah.
True or false? George Lucas originally planned for Yoda to be played by a monkey wearing a mask and carrying a cane.
Yeah, false.
It's true.
It's true?
Yeah.
What's wrong with that man?
No.
He's a genius.
Hattie McDaniel, the first African American to win an Oscar, had to sit in a segregated part of the auditorium during the ceremony.
True. If that's false, then
True.
it's a weird fucked up thing to make up.
Yeah. Do you remember when there was segregation?
Ooh.
Daniel Craig's first main role was a Power Ranger.
False.
What was his first main role?
Main role.
It says main role. Does that just mean lead?
Yeah, I guess so. I guess Layer Cake, maybe? It's the first thing I think of.
Really? I swear Layer Cake came out after Casino Royale.
No, Layer Cake came out before Casino Royale.
Really?
Yeah, 100%, definitely.
It's false. It's not Power Rangers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is it?
It just says false.
I'll look it up. Thanks a lot, Jake.
Thanks for listening, folks. It's been a blast.
It's been a lightning blast.
Yeah.
Whoa.
What are we commenting this week?
Comment below how much money you would give to somebody who is homeless, who you apparently interviewed, do not remember interviewing and not giving them the job. But when you didn't give them the job, it was because they hurled some slurs at you at a cash point once, and you remembered that.
Yeah.
But you did know them, you met them when you were a child, but you do not remember that at all. And one day in the future, this man is going to maybe look after you.
Okay.
So comment below how much money you would have given to that man.
Remember to like and subscribe if you enjoyed it. And
don't if you didn't.
No, don't if you didn't.
Please don't.
Definitely don't.
Until next week, you won't hear us, but
we'll see you.
Bye.
Bye.